Right. I want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you guys. This is another video here. In this particular video, what I'm going to be doing is just checking out some stuff. It's an art video. It's another art video. Really grateful you can join me anytime. Okay, whether it be like, let's say, longer videos or shorter videos, as I say, well, whatever it is. I've got a setup here. Please excuse me, I've got a bit of a bad throat. I'm talking too much shit. Oh, excuse me, man. Yeah. Anyway, though, yeah. As I say, so I've got this setup here in Blender. Okay. And Blender's a 3D software. It's for 3D, as you know. As I've shown this before, and we're not going to be really working in Blender today. The reason I'm showing it is because of the fact that I can use this for like grids and stuff. You'll see. Like this is a 3D grid, as I've got here. Now this is a really. I need to change the colour of that. I think. First, I'm going to need to make it selectable. Hold on, so I should go there. I don't even know. Hold on. I'm going to turn the colour down, turn the brightness down. Yeah, that'll probably do. Okay, then unlock. Now unlock it. Okay, good. So you've got this 3D grid, you see. And I like this because it's great because because I made this myself, but I'm just saying that it's good because you can select it, and then as I say, change the size of it. I've made this available to for people to download this on Gumroad. Please do excuse me. I've set a price on there. I forgot if it's like $1 or whatever it is. It's something cheap anyway. I'm pretty sure, if not free. I forgot because I put some stuff up for free and I put some stuff up for Gumroad. Till this point, I've not actually sold anything on there, but I do try. But yeah, you see people selling all kinds of stuff on there, So let's have a look. So basically, this is something I did make, and I thought, I'd make it available to people too to get hold of. Please excuse me for blowing my nose and coughing and stuff. I'm gonna just hit save. Yeah, here. Hold on. No, I'll go set that as unselectable right now. Hit save. But yeah, so you got this grid, as I say. It's just cool because it's going to help you with setting up some perspective, right? Still think we need to go into another view though. Yeah. So the thing is, with something like this, okay, this is the thing. See, what I want to have is a SketchUp version of this, because in SketchUp it's cool because you can have the this fog, like it's more easy to set up this fog, and what it does is it makes it just more easy to look at. Like, right, it's kind of a mess, isn't it? And whatever feature I choose, I mean, this is probably the best we're going to get, but it's not that great. But I think I'll just go with it like this for now. See, the funny thing is, I don't even need this actually. Okay, let's just turn this off. Let's get rid of this. Okay, I was gonna use the grid to like make a base for like to draw a city like scene on top or something like that, like some buildings. But the weird thing is this. Okay, all you really need is a cube. That's all you really need, a cube like this, really, or some kind of block shape that you can use for a building. Getting the camera right here. Okay, good. And that's all you really need. But the reason, I mean, let me just show you. If I go to modifiers, I'm going to add a modifier to this. I'm going to go to array. You see, it does that. Let's make it a little bit white. I want to spread it about. Give a gap there. Okay, let's just do it like that. And I'm going to up the count. I'll make a load of them, see. I mean, that could be one way of doing it. I'm just trying to find the best way of doing this, you know. I don't even know, man. But let's just see. Okay, so let's just say we got that. Okay, I'll apply. This could be a train, couldn't it? Okay, but basically, yeah. So you got this thing. You can make a train. You just go like that and make them longer. There you are. Get your train up. More or less. But basically, it's just a case of turning the camera around. Excuse me. Just, you know, turning the camera around. You can put it like this if you want. And just getting your kicks on Route 66. No, basically just so what I'm trying to do is I want to make one building and then make it like copied throughout. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because you're probably lost now into what I'm talking about. I go into my art here. You can see some of these scenes I've made like this. Okay, you see what I'm saying? You just draw one building, or a couple of various ones if you want. Make alterations and changes to various ones after you've got your image like this. I mean, if you look at this carefully, you can see the perspective is not actually right. But even when you're looking at it and it's not right, it still looks right, kind of. For two reasons. One, because of the effect, there's so much going on and stuff in the background, it's an illusion. But secondly, it looks right as well, kind of, even though it looks wrong a bit. But it's like for the most part, it's like 80% right sort of thing, 80-90% to the eyes, because buildings can be on different funny, weird angles and stuff anyway. I mean, if everything was like perfectly lined up, then you know, it would look like unnatural as well. I don't mean natural, I mean unrealistic as well, you know. Well, kind of, it depends, because they can be like on certain angles, you know. Could be on, but I mean, of course, you can't have it so the buildings are like on like so tipping over that it looks like an earthquake, obviously, unless you want that kind of scene. But yeah, you know. So this is one example. Yeah, other examples I've done are like things like this. This was actually used, or forget if it was this one or another one. I think it was this one. I used in my cartoon, my Urban Crush cartoon. My favourite version, or similar. It's not exactly. It's not the same image actually. But this is another one here. But the images are the same. The buildings I used. But the difference with this image, I say these ones, this one and this one, is that all of the buildings are actually just front images. That's all. Or apart from some of the ones in the bottom here, bottom left and bottom right, you can see some of those ones we used in the other image, you see. But the other ones are basically just flat images, like front-on views. And what I did is I just turned them around to make them look like there's more perspective. See, what you got to remember is there's a line. See, for this kind of illusion. See, hold on 1 second. I'll just explain. See, you know the horizon line that goes, if you can imagine a horizontal line, a horizon line going across here, the middle of the page, let's just say, the eye line of it, then what basically is anything below that line, we're going to see the tops of the buildings, and anything above that, you know, we're not. So when anything passes like the middle of the page to the top of the page, you know, we just got that, we got the perspective, yeah, but it's like you're not going to see the top, you know, tops. So that's that, you know. But so whenever you need to draw a roofing, like this is kind of wrong. You can see some areas, if you look carefully, it looks kind of like flat. If you look really carefully, it looks like, yeah, you should have drawn the roofs on those ones, but I didn't. But it looks alright. Like if you just look at that quickly, yeah, detailed city, you know. It's just a case of copying and pasting and manipulating and turning brushes turning the images into brushes, making little changes here or there, stretching them out. The ones that are further away obviously are smaller and more fainter in their colour, which gives the illusion. But I found this a very, very useful thing, because this is just literally using a couple of different images. and it looks like a load of different buildings, but you could add more changes to lots of buildings and add stuff in here and draw and make it like a more complicated, look at a complex city, and you can put different buildings in and designs, and that's what we're trying to come up with now. Okay, not for this image, I'm just saying all new stuff. But let's just check some other stuff out just quickly. So this is good for anything. Okay, this is good for, like, as I say, anything you want to do. Forests, they could be castles, they could be loads of people or vehicles or machinery or whatever the hell it was it's going to be, you know. While I'm here, I'll show you another couple of different ones. Okay, I've done this more realistic kind of. It looks like just like a 3D. I don't know, some old game or something, I don't know, but same thing though. Same thing exactly. I mean, in fact, that's just literally one building. This is literally one building. I just pasted it, stretched it, flipped it, and put a load in. And if you look carefully, it does look alright, sort of thing. But if you can see, look at all of these buildings. Every one of these buildings, we can see the top of the roof. And I'll put that in, you see. You'll see the roof. And, because it's the same image exactly, you know, but we can see the camera is like fairly high, that's why, see. So if you don't want to be seeing that roof, then you're gonna have that, the things are going to be higher basically, but we're going to be like lower looking up. So it's not actually 3D, it's an illusion, isn't it? This here, look at this one, you can see this one here, look. This one's a really like bad one, kind of. It didn't work. Well, no, it's good. It works. See, you look at it, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like you look at it and there is something wrong with that. It's like you can't tell what it is. Is it the shapes of the buildings, which is what it is basically? But no, it's the perspective. And it was the fact that it was like it was two buildings actually. There's two slightly different buildings, is what they are. If I'm not mistaken. You see, one of them's got this balcony piece hanging out here, this balcony. See, I drew that 3D balcony part, whereas the other one doesn't. I think there's like two beside each other. And because of the way the perspective turned out, it just looked a bit weird. But I just put them in. And the good thing is, when you've got a lot of variety going on, and if I was to have more things going on and different buildings and a big bridge in the background and all kinds of stuff, or whatever, trees and people, then you would like it would bring it even more into being okay. So it doesn't matter too much. You can get away with this stuff, and I think it's good. I mean, I like this one a lot, and I like this one a lot. I like to do the black and white ones too, but I like having some atmosphere, and the colour is nice. Starry sky there. Recently, and I'm jumping off subject here a little bit. But recently, I've been doing other stuff again. Like last night, I did one of these, which I haven't done in a while, where I start with like a scribble sketch, like, you know, like random paint strokes basically, and then I just go on top of it and I draw a sketch from what I see. It's like looking into clouds, you know, that kind of thing. When you see shapes and you just start drawing. All I saw was like these mechanical things sticking out, and like this piece of like a bridge, or we don't know what it is, just material hanging down here, bits of trees and stuff growing on there, and all kinds of stuff. There's all words just to give it some life, so that's scribbles, and it's not even real language, some numbers and letters and stuff. A few rocks at the bottom, and I thought, okay, let's have this thing elevated, and it's like out by the water, and then I made it really out in the water, like away from land. You'll see the mountains in the background, like faint painting. Yeah, I did that last night, and I want to show you something else now as well. I've been trying my fucking arse off, excuse my language, trying to work out better ways of drawing characters. I'll show you a very shit one first. This one here. It's not shit, but you know, I'm trying to work out the best way to draw various figure forms. Oh my god, you can see how shit some of them are. But working out the sizes and stuff, you know, different sizes and everything. Anyway, I come up with one of my favourite methods, and I'm going to make a video about this. I'm going to make another video all about this, doing animation and stuff, okay? What I'm about to show you now, the next few images actually. Basically, it's like this. Hold on. Okay, so we can see this, right? They're not perfect. I know they're really, really ugly looking. But from left to right, it's basically supposed to be frames, if you can imagine this. So you can see the movement. See, from left to right, it's not perfect, but this dude turns around, he jumps and does this spinning kick thing, and then just lands and flips. It's really shitty, really. But you can see from the top line of characters, look how shit that is. Circle for the body, circle for the head, and that's all it is, like an egg. And I've got a name for these motherfuckers. Bean babies. Bean baby. So this is a bean baby, right, motherfucker. And the bean baby is the most simple kind of character you can draw, set up. Right? And so I did that. I worked out the. Okay, there's literally 2 circles, and then one, and then two lines for the arms, 2 lines for the legs. Then what I did from there is I went on top of that. These were like on top of that, and I basically just drew out a basic figure, like more like a body you see, like a person. And I tried to like make it like into the shape of a body. Some of them didn't really work out too well, I know. But I thought, okay, this shit's working, right? So let's take it to the next level. Okay, it was working and more. The next level was like this. So you can see the top ones, okay. The top ones, okay. I thought, let's give them some more detail. So now you can see I drew on top of them, and I do it. The bottom line now you're looking at is basically what I drew on top of that. You know, I made them look. You can see this here. Turn to this. So I give the guy some hair, some clothes. It's really messy still. There's a guy here, sword. That one's got a gun. Different kinds of clothes for each one. Because the reason why, because I wanted to just test different things out. These are really rough. But you can see, nevertheless, with this guy 2 swords. See, and you can see, it's working. I didn't do every one, but I thought, okay, so that's step 3, right? Step 3. So let's go back if we can. Can we? Hold on. Let's go back. Step to this one, the original one. So the first step is you're drawing these bean babies, as I call them. Then you do a rough figure, block that out on top, so that it's like on top of that, but it's like properly sized up a human dummy. Then you go on top of that. Yeah, a lot of steps, but step 3 is going in and giving it some actual design, like clothes, hair, and whatever the hell on top of that actual figure. You know, and seeing as this thing's like set for animation, really, it should work. You know. And what I did is I went on top of this, okay, these 2 characters particularly, and I drew them again on top of those images. I literally drew this. You can see it. Look, you can see left to right there. I literally drew these colour design for characters. I drew a much better one here. I just changed it a bit. Still rough. I know it's still rough, but I tried to make it a bit more cleaner and give it a design. You know, give it a character. And the same for this one over here. Guy with the sword, his eyes are a bit creepy, and I did, you know, it's not perfect, it's still really rough, but I was just trying to see, you know. So knowing that we can get at least some kind of detail-looking characters, I know it's still really rough, but nice with the colour and stuff. But if I took more time, it'd be even better. But you see, it shows that we can get to something like that from starting off with just these fucking bean babies here. I call them. You know, so it's like bean baby to random dummy. I mean a rough human figure dummy to the blue ones here. The next step being design of character, what they're going to look like, clothes and stuff, hair, whatever. And then the last one is trying to get a proper looking character going, you know, proper. But that was a big ramble there. Let's get back to our building stuff, okay? It's our world where all the action's going to take place, you know. Kind of looking at Vice City here, but anyone who plays Grand Theft Auto games and stuff. But yeah, let's just I love the 80s, by the way. So we're going back into this, and see, this is the thing. I did the thing in SketchUp. See, this is SketchUp. How I drew those buildings, you know, the buildings I drew, okay, like I told you, I drew one building and I made it into a brush and I just painted it everywhere. Well, that's what I was doing. You see? I started off with a building. I took an image, like every one of those pictures I just showed you building. I started off with this. Actually found an image online which was like this grid image, and I basically bring it into SketchUp and I just paste it on top of things. So we've got a building here, and see I can just literally shape it to whatever shape I want. I can make that a table or anything I want it to be above it. And copy and paste, I can make more of these blocks, and I can just literally move them around, you know, make more. I've got a few in the back over there, different things to see over there. But you know, and you just basically come in, you take a screenshot, take an image of this, like I'll get the angle that I want. You see, like this, for example. Take the image, take a screenshot, a photo of this picture, and I'll bring it into my art software and I'll draw on top of this, and it has all these nice lines across it, which is going to help me to focus on where I'm drawing my windows, doors, and everything, you know. Once you've done that, then you can just manipulate it, copy, paste, or turn it into a brush and make loads and loads and loads and loads of buildings. And that's what I did for those images. And I add certain things on, of course, like I draw more detail and stuff. If you wanted to do more stuff, though, you could literally come in here like this, you know. I don't know, can I? Yeah, like see that add stuff on, see, like this. If I wanted to do something like that, excuse me, without messing it up, you know, I could go in here and I could just literally go there, you know, and just click away. No, I'm just saying, it gives some lines and some guys. You know what I mean, though, yeah? So it's like, it's useful. I'm just testing a few things here, because, see, this is different to use than, you know, than SketchUp is. But at the same time, it's like, it's still as good that you can see that I'm doing all this stuff here. I can make this into a building or a shop or something, you see. And I can just get the images I want. It's really, really good stuff. Making a 3D world like this, drawing over the top of it, if you don't want to go freehand. And let's face it, freehand, not only is freehand hard, there are other things for it, but this gives you good visualization, because doing it this way, you can get your camera in any angle. It's like making a movie. You can get the camera angles you want. You can have the same, because you know, if you're drawing like a comic or a cartoon or something that I'm going to be doing with like stories and stuff, then you have to imagine that in your mind, the different angles, and try and have it in the same place or the same stuff from different angles. It's hard. It's even harder to remember. So if you've got like a thing like this already made, you can just turn the camera around, just like in real life, you know, with the camera, and you're like, it's like really there, and you can look around it how you want, though, far, close, whatever, you know. And my point basically is, another thing I want to say basically is like, not only that, like, if you want to do it freehand, if you want to do it all by yourself, if you want to do it all by yourself, yeah, then you gotta, I mean, okay, what are you gonna do? You want to draw straight lines? Oh, you're going to use a ruler, let's say. You're going to blame somebody for using a ruler? You're going to say, that's cheating, man. This is stupid, isn't it? No, it's whatever gets your final thing done, that's what it is, you know. It's your creation still. So, yeah, I'm just saying that. Just trying to work it out like that. I mean, it can be a lot of fast. There are ways of doing things, but I think this is like a really convenient way. So let me just turn this off, though. What are we doing now then? Why am I in Blender if SketchUp works so well? Why am I using this Blender here? Well, one thing I just showed you was this array tool, where we got like, I can make copies of it really fast. And another thing is just having one building, and I think yeah, I'll show you just quickly. I'll just show you really quickly, like in art software. I'm going to fire Alpaca just really quickly. Oh, by the way, the other day I was actually drawing some images. I'll show you again if you've not seen that yet. Open, where is it? Go here, I go here, where is it? This one. The other day I was actually doing some freehand, this is all freehand, I was doing these freehand the other day. Okay, so you're just doing it from my mind, so you're just drawing it. It's hard because you've got to work out all the lines, the grid lines, the perspective, and the perspective's not right here, you know, it's really not perfectly right. I've got to be honest with myself. If this was done, it's almost right, but it's not right. Like if this was done in like just using 3D and stuff, and I drew on top of it, then it would be perfect, right? So it takes a lot more working out stuff, you know. So you got to work out your grid lines, your perspective, then you got to do your straight lines and everything. Then you got to make it look natural. So the thing is, you know, if you've got tools that can help you, what's wrong with that, you know? But let's just show you what I'm talking about, right? So I come in here and do a freehand sketch, okay, of a building, just really quickly. We're going to go for my mind. We're going to go for this angle. So we're seeing the top of the building. Just look at the first cube here in the line on the right. Go for that, and I'm going to try and make this basically a copy like what we've got here. I'll just do a really quick one, very quick, and you'll just see the problem we're going to get, or if we get one. So I'll do a really simple building, okay, really simple. I'm going to do it so simple, like that. It's really rough looking, okay. I'm just doing it for quickness, you know. But this is tests for what I'm trying to do, you know. So let's see. That's really rough. I know it's supposed to be rough looking, okay. I'll even make it a bit fainter just so we can see what we're doing. It's a sketch, you know. And I'll make this like a shop or something. I don't know. It doesn't have to be an actual full-on cube. I'm doing it for quickness. Let's pretend this is some small shop or some kind of small building there, you know. I don't even know what I'm doing. Putting a window on there, a door, a window. Another window on the side, man. It's the corner shot. Whatever, yeah. Put that there. I don't know what I could put there. Some little kind of. Could put some little box or something on the wall. I don't know what it is. Just little designs. I like to do these, you know. I'm gonna put some words, some graffiti shit. Yeah. And some words on here as well. It's a shop, okay. Things there and there. And what we'll even do to give it some more life is just go over some of these windows. Yeah, just to give it some life. And then what else I could do is I could even, let me see, hold on, give it like a bit of a shade to one side just to make it a bit more 3D sort of thing, you know. Bit of a shadow under there maybe, I don't know. It's a bit of like life to it, you know. Okay, well, yeah, you got a little thing, right, going on, you know. So I'm going to go over here now. I want to give it a thicker line on the edge just so we can see what we're looking at a bit better. You don't always have to do that, but that little thing going on here. I could even give it some colour if I wanted to, but yeah, I might even do that. So just give it some colour. Just give it like a little bit of pink, like tint or something, purple, red, blue, whatever the hell. Tint, you know, go there, boom. Just cutting that out there, so it's easy to deal with. Turn off the highlighted outline there. I'm going to go with a bit of red, with a spray, soft light spray. Go on top, go to multiply or something, or turn it down a bit, whatever. Yellow as well, I don't know. And that'll do, man. I'm just going to merge that down. What the hell just happened? I just kind of messed it up. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Deselect. Up the colour. You know. Okay, hold on. Bring that up a little bit. Okay. That's probably gonna do, man. Let's go for that. It's a building in the city. Okay, pretty cool actually. Little building, I don't know. Jolly fantastic. There we are. Now, I speak like a prick sometimes, don't I? But what I'm going to do now is work this thing out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, I'm going to cut this out here and show you the problem with this, okay? So choose the square, select. No, in fact I don't even have to do that, I just, hold on, yeah, just duplicate that a few times. Oh shit, is that what it is? Hold on, didn't realise, oh shit, it's like not full opacity or something. Okay, I'll just have to merge that down first, cut this out first. It's not a clean cut either, so thanks for your patience, guys. Doing that. Oh shit. Just clean it up a bit. You'll see what I'm doing. Come in here as well if I want to clean up a few bits, you know, there. A bit too thick that line was. Okay, let's go. Right, I'm going to show you, right? So we just put a background in, a bit of a background for the canvas there. Right, that's there. Now let me show you. Ah shit, what? Okay, like that. I'm going to duplicate that, okay? Now let's try and replicate this. Let's try and replicate this, right? So something like that. We're seeing all the tops of them, but you see they get smaller as they get further away, don't they? Don't they? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to do that? How the hell are you going to do that? You know, it's like, shit. So I've got to move one, or rather move one that's below it. Shit, not turn it. And then, alright, make it smaller. Does it work? Yeah, it works, but it don't, sort of thing. You'll see what I mean. We're going to see. I think the way to really know, is by doing lines. So I guess that's the first thing you got to do, like add lines for a guide. Let me show you what I mean. I'll just make a straight line from here, okay? Let's just make a straight line from here. Let's see what I mean. Look, see from here, yeah? That's actually getting smaller, or should be, right? I mean, it is kinda, right? Or have I done that? Is this just an illusion? Is that actually straight? Hang on. Is it like that? You see what I'm saying? I don't even know, man. I don't even know, but let's just because to me that looks like it's the same side. Okay, let's go. Let's see. Okay, right. So we're gonna shrink this one down a bit. This space between. I love the way you can do that. You can have that gap showing there. So that's that. Okay, so we can do stuff. We can do stuff. I'll put this here. Shrink that down there. Again, I need to like. See, I can manipulate it as well, which is good. So you don't need to be too hard on yourself. That's another thing. So you don't need to be too hard on yourself. That's one good thing. You don't need to be too hard on yourself. And still get it to get a row of buildings going along. We have like 4 of them. Okay. Yeah. So it is actually working. We're doing that perspective size thing, which is good. So. I mean, with these manipulation tools, like I'm using here, like manipulating, see the shape and stuff, that is a good thing. Very, very useful thing, isn't it? I mean, but you can still see something doesn't look right, but whatever. It does look. It looks alright. It's all good, man. It's all good, you know. Okay, now let's try something else, y'all. Delete that one. Delete that one. And delete that one. Oh no. I'm going to merge them down. Hold on, I'll show you. I don't usually do it like this. Usually I just turn them into a brush. I make this whole thing into a brush. I paint them all, you know. Get rid of those lines. So now we've got this. I just paint them all on usually. By paint them all on, what I mean is I'll show you in another layer just really quickly. Usually what I do is I make buildings like like these ones, you see, like this, and I just literally paint them all on, you see. That's what I usually do, I just paint them all on. That's what I did in the other scene, is just paint the shit out of them. And you can like literally change the shapes of certain ones. Like, see, this is close. See, already you get yourself a scene. Fucking incredible, right? I'm just saying, fucking incredible, ain't it? But you see, when you start putting other ones in, like this, it looks wrong because of the angle, right? You see, these are the flat ones, I'll say. See, I literally just use them bits. It looks wrong, right? See, so we're trying to work out ways of doing this. But yeah, you can flip it and everything, like flip certain ones to do on different angles, like flip certain buildings and stuff. And it's good how you can like do this. You just size them up, stretch them, and just add things on. I can put signs and stuff on the buildings and stuff, or whatever, balconies or different things, and make it look like a big different scene. Because when you look at that so far, the first thing that goes into your mind, or to me at least, doesn't seem to be like, oh, that's a bunch of copied buildings. You're just like, oh, there's a load of buildings there. You can see different sizes and stuff and certain differences. But it's like, especially when you add certain differences and stuff on too, the arrangement of it and the sizes and stuff, just, yeah, it works. But it's like, that's what it is really. But okay, let's just get rid of that and let's go back to what we got there with our thing, like with this. So, go back to the top, go to normal. How the fuck are we going to deal with this? So, got one here. Make them big. If I make a duplicate of that, also move. Yeah, you see when I move it here, you see now? You see now? You see what happens? See, if I move that, I'll show you. If I move this here and this one up here, can you see? The angle's wrong. The angle's fucking wrong. So you say, what do I do to fix that? I guess the manipulation thing might work. We've got a CC. I guess that's the only way to deal with it, isn't it? The manipulation. Stretchy tool thing here. But I don't want it to look unnatural, see? Does it work or not? Because you see that build, look at the building on the right. It looks like it's stretched and messed up a bit. Too obvious. We'll do that. Okay, that kind of works. It seems to me all I've done really though is just like shrink them. Okay, that looks right now. Looks kind of right. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? A bunch of washing machines. When I move, everything gets wrong. It has to be lined in a certain way to make it. Even this doesn't look perfectly right. It's like I have to like manipulate this again, like a bit like, see, to be like here or turned. See? Because it's not actually 3D. But here's me making all this fuss about this. When we see the last picture I just showed, that when I was painting them buildings a moment ago, painting all them buildings on, them black and white ones, that worked, didn't it? It worked. So, this is the thing anyway, this is the thing, you see. This is the thing. Just trying to work this shit out myself, hold on. So what do we do? Sorry for taking so long here, I'm just trying to work this out myself, Flip it to give yourself a different look, just quick, yeah, it looks weird for. But I really don't know. But I really feel that's the only option we've got really, Let me just try a couple of things just quickly, so just go with that. Let's just go with like a copy of that. See, it's weird already. When I start shrinking things, the angle's wrong as well, you see. And line it up like that. Okay, hold on. Here's the smaller ones, hold on. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work exactly 100%, but it works somewhat. Please forgive me. So, that's that. Right. Okay, so let's go back if we can. Go back quite a few steps actually. We just need one of these buildings. If you bear with me just for 1 second, guys, I'm just going to check something again. Hold on 1 second. But back any minute. Hold on 1 second. Yeah? Okay. Just checking my pet rabbit, Chucky. Chucky, my pet rabbit, he's part of the family. I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, this is the whole point. So yeah, I don't even want to do this, but I'm gonna do it just for the sake of testing this, because I have to. Okay, I just have to, literally. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna select the whole thing. Select from opacity, crop to that. Bang. File save as some shit or something on the desktop. I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to try and delete it when I get round to it as well, probably. I'm starting a new one here, and I'm going to go to add brush under buildings if I can. Add brush, where is it? From bitmap it should be. I'm going to go there, choose the building, okay. Turn off, apply foreground colour. So he's got the main thing there. Turn off, rotate along. Right, yeah, right, and it looks like okay-ish. See, space here. We might want to have some space in there, like yes, you can see the buildings. Right, hit OK. And where is it now? First of all, we're going to find out where that fucking thing is. So I need to bring that in, bring it up here. Yeah. Now we've got what we had, so we can paint it in basically. If I go here, see, I can do this kind of thing again. Weird or what? That's weird. Let me see. Weird. If I go make some big ones, does it work? It works, but it's like it doesn't. I don't even know what to say about this. So we got this. We can see the tops of the buildings from if they're below the horizon line. That's right. Now behind that, yeah, you're gonna see the same thing. So that you're gonna see the tops of the buildings and all that. See? Okay. Bit weird looking, I know, but I mean, I could close the space in a bit closer as well, like there. Looks like steps. Oh, it's a good way to make steps, by the way. Look, so you make some steps or something. But yeah. Excuse me. So I'm just trying to work this out. I'm so sorry to be like a bit zombie-fied here, trying to work this shit out. So, it's just driving me crazy. I'll keep that just for a visualization test thing. But the point is basically like this. Look, anything above the line, okay? Anything above the line. So we're doing that, okay? A line. Anything below the line, we're gonna see like that, okay? Anything above the line is gonna be like that. Right, and then anything in the middle on the line, okay, on the line's been like that. So that means even if we're seeing that on the angle like this, it's going to be like that. You see, like that is what I'm trying to say. We can't see the top or the bottom. See what I'm trying to say? Like we can see the top here, right? We can't see the bottom. So. But this one, if I do another one now, it's going to be like this, you see? Like that. So we're seeing under it. See what I'm saying? We're seeing under the whatever it is, the cube, the building, whatever. See? Like that. You see what I'm saying? But obviously, if it's a building, obviously, no matter how tall it is, that is basically the same as, that is the same as that one. The reason it is because a building is not going to be flying in the sky, damn it, is it? Wouldn't be surprised, man. The stuff they're showing in the news these days, man. I'll believe anything, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, that's buildings like that you see anyway. So hold on, that should be like that. Okay, and then this goes across there more parallel with the line. Yeah, okay. And that's basically what I'm trying to say. See, so you'd have, it's basically the same thing. You see, it really is basically the same thing. Obviously, you wouldn't see the line through it, obviously, but you see. So I'm trying to find a way of that. So if we're saying that, then what we're really looking at is two things, two different things, really. Because like what we're saying is anything, any building, because we're never going to see the underneath of it unless it's a bridge or unless there's an overhang or something. By that I mean, like if there's an overhang, like something hanging off here, see, then we're going to see underneath that. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to see underneath that there, if there's something hanging over, you know, like that, then we're going to see what's there. So you're going to see the underside of it, under there, see? You know what I'm saying? If something's hanging over. But for the most part, just the basic build, we can draw that stuff in anyway. Basic blocks are just literally, you're going to see the top if it's below the horizon line. You're going to see the top if it's below the horizon line, no matter where the horizon line is, right? So to do that again, so if I do a line, let's do 3 different ones just really quickly with different horizon lines, right? And I can put them on angles if I want to put one on an angle even, and the same for the high one, just put a little bit like that. So basically we do a red building, I'll put that faint a little bit. The point is, if it's below the horizon line it's like that, and if it's on the horizon line, the top of the building, yeah, the top of the build, we're talking about this top square basically, that's what we're talking about, right? This top part. So the top part of the building, no matter how high the building is, if it's above that horizon line, that means we can't see it because the lines here go in an angle, you see? So we're still, no matter how high the buildings are, we're not going to see the lines. In fact, I've done that a bit wrong anyway, because that they're supposed to get further away from us anyway if we're looking up like that, you know. So it's like, okay, so there, but you get the idea, right? It's something like that, yeah. But you know what I mean, yeah? You can't see the tops of them. You can't see the tops. So this one obviously we're looking down on. Okay, what about this then? Okay, the horizon line's there, we can see the top of the building. That's wrong. That's wrong. These ones we would see the top of the buildings. But these ones we wouldn't see the top of the buildings. This is so confusing. But it'll obviously be further away, wouldn't they, as well? So it'd be further away, but we're not seeing the top of the building. I can imagine people watching this video thinking, this guy's got no idea. But yeah, I mean, that's right. Look, so you can see there. So if we've got a little build, if we've got, yeah, that's basically what it is. So we're trying to say that. Hang on, if we're trying to say that this building is the same size, no, it wouldn't be. This is so weird, but you get the idea that what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to work this out. But you don't have to be too detailed anyway, because I can just do like building shapes like that, make a city, see, which is the roads and stuff, whatever. So here, same thing in it. So I'm not really concerned with this bottom space here. I want to see the top ones, because that's the thing. You know, there. another one. I'm trying to do different angles and stuff, you know. Trying to get better at doing different angled buildings and stuff, you know. The reason they've got different horizon lines, different so vanishing points I should say, is because the buildings are literally on different angles. But this is the point, so I have to work out where those angles are. So this one's here, this is here, this is here, this is here. Anything over in the closer ground now here, foreground. So we're going to see the top of this building, you see, because this one's closer to us. That one, I mean because it's below the horizon line. So you got the understanding, but it's working with. So basically, what we're saying is we're working with two different kinds of brushes. What kind of brushes do I have already? Is a good point to work out. Let's see. Okay, we're doing study here for myself. So I know it might be a bit boring now this video, but let's see. Okay, so looking at what I've got, we got. I don't have many. I've got front on ones. I've got front on buildings here. Front on. Let's just put them in their perspective. So we've got front building, which is just literally flat images, is all they are. Oh, excuse me. Front buildings, okay. Then I've got bottom buildings, like I mean where you can see the top of them, so they're below the horizon line. Perspective looking kind of okay, right? Be honest. If we've got a horizon line, put this down a bit. See, if I've got a horizon line that goes across the centre, let's say here, see, so everything above that line, see, with everything above that line we can't see the tops of the buildings, if you see what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say, and I know it's not perfect the way I got this. It does something looks wrong about it, I know. I think that's big. I think what looks wrong about that is this. I'll show you what I think looks wrong about that. The whole goddamn thing. No. What it is this? Okay, it's basically the angle, like they should get like taller or something. I don't even know. I think that's what it is. I mean, that's a bit exaggerated, isn't it? That's a bit exaggerated, that's the problem, but there's something there. Is that messed up? That kind of thing. I think that's what it is. I'm not even too sure. Anyway, let's turn it off for a second. That looks like what it is like it's just shit. Now what it is like they're too tilted, I think. Am I talking shit? I'm just making excuses. Or was it? What it is, I think, the way they're lined up is... shit. Ah, I know what it is. I know what the problem is. Okay, let's work this out. Okay, I go there. That building there. Okay, that one there. Where is it? This one. They are... Hold on. Shit. They are so tilted in such a way that we're seeing a certain amount at the top of them. I'm not even too sure. I'm still my fucking head in. Let's just check it out. So, like, if I was going to use something like this now, where they're really pointed up, you see how wrong that is? Yeah, that is what it is, isn't it? I think that is what the problem is. Let's try and work this out. Okay, we are seeing the bottoms of these. Yeah, we're seeing the bottoms of these buildings, the tops of these. Sorry, the bottom buildings, because we are. Yeah, this looks right now. This looks better. See, we're seeing the tops of these ones at the bottom, and we can't see the tops of those other buildings. So then why is it so if I don't put the middle ones in, why doesn't that balance everything out? Or does it? Is that working right now? I guess that is working okay now, isn't it? If you look at that. That is working right now, yeah, that is working right now. Yeah. Kind of, that is working right now. Kind of. I think we just fixed it, guys. I think we just fixed the problem. So this one a more faint. I know they're like really big as well, the looking buildings, but we're just trying to work the perspective out, you know. You know what I mean? So this one really then, if I get rid of that just quickly and make another one of it, of that. Because this, once I've understood this, you see, I can do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that look, hey, see, now we're looking at something that makes sense. See, look at that immediately. Yeah. Okay, we worked it out. We worked it out. We worked it out. We worked it out. More or less, I'm pretty happy with that. We worked it out. Okay. See there. See, yeah. So like we can't see the tops of these ones, the middle ones. We can't see the tops of the buildings because they're above. Let's say. They're above a horizon line, you see. In this case, our horizon line is, well, I mean, really, we've got the buildings in a curve kind of thing going on here, but the truth is, you know, that could be just due to the lay of the land or whatever, but that's it. The line there, that black line I just added across the centre there, marks it. So anything above that we can't see the tops of, is what it should be. But you say, well, why can't we see the tops of these things in this area? The reason being is because they're flat on the front of the building. That's why there is no top bit sticking out. So wherever you remember, wherever there's a top bit sticking out, you see. So this is all one flat building, so that makes sense. So even if we get rid of the line, that makes sense. So I'm happy I've worked that out now. So we've understood the perspective. We've also understood now that, okay, we've also understood that. Basically, if I just merge this all down, I'm going to save this as a reference too. Okay, we've also understood now that, I'm going to save that as a reference. We've also understood that I only need two different things to worry about in two different kinds of buildings, although there is one kind of thing I want to say. The two different kinds of buildings we need are ones where you've got the roof showing, or top showing. That's all it is, top showing or top not showing. The top's showing or the top's not showing. Anything from underneath, like looking up and seeing things sticking out, such as this balcony that's sticking out here. Well, I just drew that on, didn't I? So I just draw that on with something sticking out, and I do that anyway. Not too much work. I can still make pieces like that anyway. It's not. It's just a reverse of what we got at the bottom there. Anyway, as well. So, but you know, for buildings wise, that's what you're going to really see. I mean, you don't always see the underside of buildings, do you? You usually see the roofs if you're up high, or you see buildings like from the front on, looking up, and as you can see the buildings further back there, the same thing, but they get a bit smaller gradually as they get to the top because they're further away. So things that are further away from us get smaller anyway, look smaller. But like looking up at the sky, again, it's another level of that, isn't it? It's like small, getting further away, but then further away looking up as well. So yeah. Because you can see how those buildings kind of look. See how they're like pointed up. See how they go up, like smaller. They get to the taller. But the further you get up to the top, I mean. But the thing is, really, see, even from this angle, you can see, it kind of works, right? Yeah. We know the horizon line's low because we can't see the tops of these buildings in the foreground. But what it is like if those buildings in the background, if they were as flat parallel as the ones in the front here, like not narrow at the top, kind of at least, then it would look pretty flat, or it would mean that the buildings maybe are closer or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? But so we've worked it out. So, all right, we need two kinds of buildings in that. We need buildings where we see the tops, and we need buildings where we don't see the tops. But we've also worked out that we need buildings which that go narrower up to the top as well. For the ones that are higher, okay, for the higher buildings or ones that are literally going up into the sky, we're going to see that really high skyscrapers. But there's two things to say to that. I mean, what you can do is just make the same as we've got here in the foreground, like buildings which are in the midground. So the midground, the buildings in the background could be done the same as the buildings in the midground, but just I could manipulate them and stretch them to be higher looking, or make versions of them that are like that, you know. So we're not really working with actual 3D things; they're just brushes. Another thing to take into account is these ones. I'll just get rid of this just quickly for a second. These ones here I just literally flat on images. There's no sides of the building showing. Not only the top, but the sides of the building aren't even showing. You see? I'll just delete that and you see that here it's just literally a flat on picture of some building. You see? Whereas I may need to stop the video in a moment, guys, which you might be happy to know about. It's quite a long one. But you see with this one you can see the top of the building and you can see the sides of the building because it's on an angle. But not only because it's on an angle, okay, let me just show you, not only because it's on an angle, but also, if I go here and just draw like a line of buildings like that, okay, just even a few, like 1, 2, 3, see, 4, here, again, we should be seeing some angle, like of the sides, like we should see like some red. No, not red. I mean, we should see some. Not red. Sorry. I'm just saying we should see some sides of the buildings, like in here. You see, the side of this, and in the middle you'd see nothing. But then when you get more to the right-hand side, you'd see the left of this building. You see a little bit of that as it goes back. You should see a little bit of that, but we're not seeing any of that. See, when the perspective goes in, you see what I'm saying? And the horizon line being right on the middle there, that's why we can't see the top of the buildings or the bottom, you know. Well, it could be a low one, but you see we can't see. See what I'm saying? The higher they get, the buildings themselves will like curve in a bit as well up to the top. But this is okay. The sun's in the sky, let's say here. But you know it works. But I'm saying if I take away them lines, you see, here they look pretty flat. That's what we had in the other image. It's alright, but see, I'll show you again. If I turn this off here and we go to this side here. Now this is not the best example because we're seeing the tops as well, okay, with the buildings. But do you see what I'm saying though? If I go like along here, even though we're seeing the tops of the building, but do you see like how we should see the sides of the buildings a bit as they're lined up? Well, you know what I mean, yeah? You would see a bit of the side of it. Yeah, you would see the side. It's not a perfect example. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like the sides, like the side parts. I don't know. Like here and here. You see where those sides, anything on the side is? Or it could be gaps between buildings or whatever, you know. Give that a try just really quickly while I'm here as well. I'm going to do one building on one side, one building on the other side, basically. Yeah. So one big building here and one big building here. Yeah, and that works, you see. A couple there as well, just fill in that. Yeah, you see, and then we can have like anything below. You know, it could be the beach and the sea, whatever you want to have at the bottom there. You know, oh, excuse me. You know. Oh, that's wrong, because you see my horizon's too low. Well, that's the beach, really. Okay, it doesn't matter, really, but you get what I'm saying? Right, I could make it like, okay, let's just put the sea in then. Just messing around, by the way, guys, right now. If I go in there with where's the fucking spray? Where is it? Here. Okay. Something like that. Yeah, that'd have to be higher. See, the horizon would have to be higher, where the sky meets the sea. See the light blue, because we're seeing the tops of the buildings. You get what I'm saying? Though, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, if I turn that off just quickly, then what have we learned? We've learned about just a quick look at that, put it in perspective, so to speak. Well, yeah, that's what we basically got. It seems to me that it doesn't matter what angle. We're just talking about different angles then. In that case, we're just talking about different angles of buildings. The flat's the flat. See, if I go to normal again, go to general, start a new general one off, okay, and I go here and here, I go to this mode, okay, and go here, click this, move this up, here. We're in a kind of flat view here. It's a flat view. So what I mean by that is if I make more of these, hold on, more of these, okay, and give a space between these. I'm purposely doing that, okay, giving a space. Shit. Between these, alright. Okay. These are a few buildings here. Now, because this is a flat view, what this software has, we're looking at them and they look all flat. You see, they look like we're looking straight at them, but we can't see the sides of any of these buildings. And the horizon, yeah, it just doesn't change at all either, you know what I mean? We don't see the top or the bottom of the buildings unless I turn the angle, see? Now, in a more natural view, now look at this, you can see perfectly here, can you see? Look, we can have these buildings here. I can just literally stretch them up a bit or whatever, you know. See, it's a real good thing to have like 3D software because you can actually like play around and give it a test, you know. See, when we're in this kind of view here, we just had a moment ago, I mean, you couldn't see the sides, see? Hold on, like here, see? You can't see the sides of the buildings, you see? But if I go into this view now, you can. This is more natural. Can you see these buildings here? The two buildings in the middle, we can't see the sides. They're just like flat planes. But the two on the left here, we can see the sides of the building slightly. You see? And the same for the ones there. So it's almost like saying, if you want to avoid that, you're going to have the buildings close to each other. You see? And these two as well, because there's a gap here. Oh, excuse me. You see? And now they look like flat planes. The first three on the left, they look like flat planes, and then this one does as well because it's like very close to the middle. But then when you get further out, you see more of the side. You can see more of the side, right? Is what we're going to have. It doesn't matter if it's closer to us or further from us or whatever. It's just a fact of life, you know. And you see how I move closer to the centre, we can't see the side. When I go to the left, you can see the side of the building and the side of it. See? Here, the side part, you can see it. When I move this closer to the front, you can't see. See? When this goes below the horizon line, you can see the top. When it goes above, you start to see the bottom, but we're not going to usually see that a lot, are we? Unless it's a bridge or something. And then you've got these crazy camera angles. So you've got the angle of the camera, but it's like anything. The angle that you turn the camera or the angle you turn the thing is different, but it's the same thing sort of thing, because you're just getting the different angle of it, the view of it, you know. Yeah. So, okay, we got that. Can we delete this one? Delete a couple of them just quickly, just check it out. And so, we've got two of them. Let's imagine then, okay, if I go there, if that was a brush, I'd be just painting it all over the place. Let's get rid of it. Let's have one. If this was a brush like that and I painted it everywhere, you know what it would look like. If this was a brush and I painted it everywhere, you know what that would look like. Right? You know what that would look like. But it'd have to all be above the horizon line. Right? Also on the horizon line. Look, not like the top of the thing should not be below the horizon line. If it's below the horizon line, you see it. As soon as that passes there, hold on. as soon as that top line passes the horizon line, we can't see it really clearly here, but as soon as it passes the horizon line, yeah, just about see it here, we can't see the top. And that's basically the rule for everything. So you can have really, really tall buildings or whatever you want to have, you know. And as soon as that top passes the horizon line, we see it. When it goes below the horizon line, we can see the top of the building. Okay, then buildings further away like that, they seem to get smaller gradually, but as they get higher. But okay, hold on. One more quick test on the y-axis. Okay, let's shrink that down a bit, put it down here. Yeah, so it's the same thing, isn't it, basically? Oh yeah, so okay, let's check that out. So we're seeing, yeah, it's another problem. So we're seeing more of the top of the building that's closer to us. Let's see, hang on, no, the building that's lower than that one, we're seeing more of that. But that's not a big deal. We don't have to worry too much about that because we can work the sizes and stuff anyway. You see, the building that's lower than the horizon, we're seeing more of it. That's what it basically is. It's got nothing to do with the distance. All in all, I think I'm just messing around too much. I think all in all I really need to do is just keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in mind. I just need to have basically, just literally have buildings, you know, of those two different types basically. Just play around drawing different buildings, isn't it? That's what I need to basically do. Buildings where the side's showing but the front is facing us. That's what I need to do. Have buildings where the top is showing, the top of the building, the roof, and buildings where it's not showing. That's what I need to have. And regardless of which either of those two I just mentioned, buildings where the roof's showing or buildings where the roof's not showing, I've got to basically have it so that I have various buildings, obviously, in different shapes and designs, and they've got to be on different angles. So some of them are facing us, and some of them are turned on different angles. And the ones that are facing us, I might have to draw sides in, or like, you know the buildings which are facing us, but because of the angle, like if they're spread further apart and far from the middle, you're going to need to see some of the sides. You see, so I'm going to need to draw some buildings like that as well. So I'll do a quick recap on that, and I'll just make a note of that just quickly. We're going to need to see buildings like which are with the top, like on an angle, let's say, you see, or with the top, but like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Whichever extent they're actually turned as well. So this one might be less, or that might be on another angle, slightly different. You see, this one's slightly different than that one I just drew. But you know, I'm not going to mess around too much because we can just manipulate and stretch the images. So they're them. Another thing to keep in mind too is how much. So seeing some of the top, you see, like that. This is more, this is less. You see what I'm saying? So I guess a good way to show that would be like with a cone, a rounder one like this. You see, a round one, or one like that. You see. I guess you could even start with something like that and then draw a building inside it. You see. Yeah, that would be an idea. That's an idea. That works. You know. Start with a cone. And a similar thing for the buildings on the front. So buildings on the front, you're going to have just squared off ones, flat, facing us. But then you're going to have other ones where, yeah, this facing us still, and we can't see the top of it. because it's higher than the top of it is higher than the horizon line, wherever that is. On this case, the horizon line's above all of these ones, you see. But we're going to have much higher actually. But what we're going to have is here is the one here, for example, you're going to see some of the side of it. And another thing to keep in mind is, let's say we do have one that's like this, okay? We could have something like, you know, really like, it's going to be either like, yeah. See, this is like one building, but there could be more buildings, couldn't there? See, this could be like a whole row of buildings, basically, see what I'm saying? Meets like that, you know. And if you work with the sizes of the brush and stuff, you may be able to have, like I was going to say, like more of them, you know, like more. It'd have to be like that, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'll say like in the background and stuff, but you'd have to work the sizes and stuff. So I think all I really need to do is, I'm going to just save this to reference too. Save a lot of references. I do sketches for buildings and characters and stuff, you know. But all I'm going to really need to do is just constantly just be making new buildings, just going in and saying, oh, okay, you know, let's just work this out. Okay, so I want my building to be like this, or I want my building to be like this, or I want my building to be really like that. And then you're going to be like, you get to the top, right? If it's facing up like really high building, it's going to be like that. So I could like do cones and stuff, you know. This is another good point actually. So we're on the main road. This is a very good point actually, which I forgot to mention a moment ago. Yeah, the road's here, something like that. And then you say, right, what angle is this building on? So this is the top of the bit that's going red for it. So this is the top of the building. It's going to go down like that. Very straight looking, I must say. This one might be like, let's say, slightly on the angle, something like that. So like that, we can see the side of it. This one's going to be here, going down. Got the road below, and where the tops of the trees or whatever, they're slightly like, let's say, you know, the trees are shorter than the building. This one, now I can have a building like this. So it gets slightly wider as it goes down to the bottom, you see. All the trees and everything down below here, whatever it's going to be, you know. Or we can say that we got to understand where that line is. So the line might be, if the line's here, sorry, if the line's here, that's one build. See, that's one way. You see. You see what I'm saying? If I do it another way, I'm happy I'm making this video, by the way. I'll put this here now. That's there. A slightly different angle, you see, but yeah, and I guess from there I could do different things. So let's try something different. That's like that. We've got a shorter one here. Can't see the top, don't forget, because we're still looking up. Okay. Goes further back down there as well, it's like a big hospital or something, I don't know. Now what is wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? I don't know. Maybe is it the angle? Seems to be that. I think it's the angle of the actual thing itself. So let's do. I'm not going to go on the same line as this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go different, slightly different, and then another one that's like this. Because you get different kinds of ones. But then if I do that, is that wrong or right? Hang on. No, it's not wrong at all. Yeah, it's like that. There is certain differences you see in the alignment of buildings, you know, because they're on different angles and stuff. So this can be a more flat one. See, this one's like that, or like there. It's kind of maybe a bit like this. Fix it a bit, you know, make it a bit more normal. And then there. That was the highest one, that one, so it should be tallest one, so that should be a bit different. But yeah, you get the idea though. Just gonna go over that. Hold on, I'm gonna go there. Just reminding myself what I'm doing there. See. Like that. This one here. So starting with cones, and I think it works really well. Basically, it's just a case of coming in, you know, and doing all your windows and whatever the hell. You can make brushes to like copy and paste those anyway. You know, and save that there. And I think you just make literally a brush, a building. Okay, you make a building as a brush, and you just paint it all over the place. So if I made any one of these buildings, like this one here, you just paint them all over the place. You see? So if let me just try something, just really quickly, actually using this. I'm going to go here. Obviously we know what's going to happen when I do this, alright? If I go here now, edit, paste, turn that off. Oh, it's not a brush yet, but you'll see what I'm going to do. If I just duplicate that and move that across, see, we get the same kind of thing going on as we did with it before. We know that works, we know that does work. Make it as basic setup if you wanted to. A bit weird looking, so you can manipulate things, as I say. But we've seen what that can do in the other image, right? In the other one we just had a moment ago. In the other pictures I showed you. So let's just do this one now. This is where we get problems a little bit as well. I mean, they've all got problems because they're all not proper 3D. If I go there, move a few of them, and start moving some. Is it? It's working, but it's like, it's weird. Shit, hold on. Ah, fuck. No, it's working. So it's working. The reason it's working is because we've got one side showing. If we had two sides of the building showing, things would be weird. Now, this is really interesting. The more further I move it to the right, it looks weird. You see? Yeah. But the reason being is because, there's another point here, very, very valid point. We've got this like centre, haven't we? There's a line in the middle. That's exactly what it is, you see? So the horizon could be high or low depending on our position. Okay, like we're not going to be, if we're standing up high on a skyscraper looking down at these lower buildings, we can see the roofs. If we're standing on the ground, looking up, we can't see the roofs. But the side of the building, you can see the sides here, we're not going to see the right hand side of the building if we're standing, you know, if these are on our left. Look, if I move this over to this side, that's not right. But it's okay when I pass this line. Okay, it makes sense. It looks a bit weird now even. You see? It's that the further they are to the left, you'd be able to see more of the side. But I just have to make variations of the drawings that I do is what I'm going to have to do. But the thing I'm trying to say is if I put the buildings on the left, you're going to see more of that. Really, it should be like this then. In reality, then I guess like this. You've got a middle kind of area where okay, buildings will be like just literally flat on the front. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, on the front, and you won't see the sides. In the middle, I'm saying. But anything on the right hand side, obviously, if I go on this side now over here, what it should be like, okay, is flipped. See, like that is what it should be like. So we see the left hand side of the building, and it's on the right. You see. If I start to move this closer to the middle, we shouldn't be seeing the side. It should be just flat on like this one here. In the that middle square is supposed to represent the front of a building, by the way. plus we would see the top of it. We would see the top. It would be like that, you know. We wouldn't see the side, but you know what I'm trying to say, though, yeah. Unless obviously that one was, unless of course this one was higher than a horizon line, and I guess what you'd have to do for that then is have to make a horizon line, and our horizon line would be, let's say, across here. So anything below the horizon line, you can see the tops of the buildings. Anything in the middle, you can't see the sides of the buildings. Anything in this middle area here that we've got, you can't see the sides of the buildings. Anything on this side, we can see those sides. Anything on this side, we can see those sides, you see. Here's the, what I'm saying. And this is the tops of the buildings we can see here, obviously. Yeah, so it's just going to be a case of just designing loads and loads of buildings with that in mind. I'm going to actually save this as well as a reference. So sides of buildings, buildings turned on certain angles, and buildings with more shown. And one thing I do is you can like just randomly like just try and do it freehand yourself, drawing stuff like that freehand. Or, as I say, one way of doing it is literally going into a software like, you know, like Blender or SketchUp, which are both free. Well, Blender's free now. SketchUp they're trying to sell, fuck thing. And then you can do the same thing, going into SketchUp like this, you know, and literally doing that. You can see everything we just did just here. See how it's in the center, but this top is higher than the horizon line, so we can't see the top. Now the horizon line's further back there, by the way. It's not that line you're looking at across the screen there. There's a horizon line that's further back. This is just the end of this grid here, this line you're looking at here. But looking at this though, this block, I'm saying, you know, yeah, when that's, you know, depending on the angle you're looking at it as well. So you've got the angle, and you've got how, then you've got how high everything is. But you see, but I'm saying, yeah, see, if I move this just pan it to the side, see, the more further it goes to the left, we can see more of the side there. And further to that side, we can see the side there. So you can just basically take a screenshot of this one image and then just draw on top of it. That's what I did anyway. And then you can get angles like this as well, angles. And get various angled buildings as well, and get things like that, which helps. It's basically more easy to work out than doing it that way. Plus you can stretch and manipulate buildings anyway to be different shape. But yeah, all in all, it does seem to work. But you can get an angle that you like and say, right, go for it, and just do a load of scenes. Another thing I think is fascinating is when we're looking up like this at buildings. Hold on, what just happened? So yeah, when we're looking up at buildings like this, from like how it reaches down to the ground, I find that fascinating as well. You know, see, the funny thing is the horizon line is going to be low. The horizon line is going to be level with the ground, really, isn't it? That's the thing. Which is why you don't see much of the ground when it's low, right? Low, so low level. Well, it's the edge of the ground of infinity, where the ground meets the sky, or anything above the ground, basically. That's what it is, isn't it? So from here, then, that's basically it for this video, really. It's basically it. So it doesn't matter if we got this here, it goes down to the ground, right? If it's like this, same thing, it goes down to the ground. And you can't really see it completely flat. You're always going to see some ground, even if we're close. I think that's what it is. So yeah, because if I go below that, I'm below the ground. So you're always going to see some of the ground before the building. If I go close up to it, same thing, right? Yeah, because it is actually down where the ground is. Okay, thanks for watching this one. What a babble, what a ramble, eh? But yeah, you can make like a few blocks like this and make them different sizes and shapes and just align them up if you wanted to. That's another thing I was going to say, like not only adding loads of different details to buildings to make them all different, and that tricks the eyes as well, because you're just looking at so much information when you're doing your images. But also another thing I was going to say is what was I going to say, doing like bunches of buildings and stuff anyway, you know, as well. So like bunches of, like this one on the right here, you see on the right hand side we've got a few buildings here on the right hand side, a few different buildings. So if that was made into a brush, or make, if you, in any camera angle I'm saying, but if you had like buildings as groups, various buildings, which I've tried before, you can paint them all over the place, you know, and that will make it interesting, and that will make it more varied. I'm going to bring that into the software just really quickly again, because I want to try and do something. I want to try and give something a look. I want to try, just because this is a really weird angled one, and the way that they are all angled in general, then I'm going to try to cut them out and do some pasting with those as well. Let's give it a try. So let's see what happens when I do that. I'm going to try that. It's not perfect, it's a rough thing, but what these are for, you know, these tests. So let's give that a try. Okay, edit, paste. This is all worth it. I've spent quite a lot of time this morning, but it's worth it, you know. Let's just deselect quickly. Go to the eraser just quickly. Just erase certain areas. I want to just make them look a bit more easy to look at. Okay, now let's just have that then. Get black, whatever, you know. Okay, right, whatever. Okay, we got that. Now let's give that a try. So yeah, they've not got any colour. There's black and white, but okay. Maybe I should do that. Actually, maybe I should do that then. Maybe just really quickly go in with the colour. Just quickly, a bit of white, behind, below, whatever. Bit of colour, or whatever. Okay, let's see. Just really quickly pop that in. Put a bit of a shadow if I wanted to. Just doing this for real quickness, okay, real rough. I'm going to put a bit of a shadow on one side just to make it look a bit more 3D sort of thing, you know. I want the light to be on the front if I can. The fronts of the buildings. A bit too dark, I know, but it doesn't matter. We're going to have this one. Alright, put a shadow on the side. This one could be again, funny angle. This one, I'll have it like, okay, like that, whatever. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. Yeah, okay, that's alright actually, it's not too bad. Go there, like that, maybe boom, boom, boom. Again, play around with it a bit. You can do paintings, by the way, they don't have to be drawings. You can use painting in the same way and make some really amazing stuff. So we've got to remember, we can't have these too low, is what we've got to remember, because they're like, because, you know, you could have them, sorry, hold on, no, I'm still wrong, hold on, well, yeah, they're not below the horizon line, is the point. Does that make sense? So they're here, let's think about that. Okay, the horizon line's low. The tops of the buildings are above the horizon line. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, the tops of the buildings will be below the horizon line, meaning we'd be high up. Oh, okay. Our standpoint is low. Wherever we are, we're standing on the ground, is what it is. So wherever these buildings are, however high, or we are standing low. We're on the ground. Our position is not above the horizon line. I guess that's what it is, right? And I know the angle of that building looks a bit weird, so I can put it like that a bit better. Maybe. Okay, but whatever, yeah. But then again, we wanted that angle, that weird angle. Okay. Let's give it a look. So I'm going to give a few duplicates, right? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, hang on. Move one across. This one's in front. Okay, let's make that one bigger. That one's bigger because it's closer to us. Okay, yeah, it's working, Shit. Got to hit OK and fight alpaca. That's closer to us. Put it in front there. It could be behind and just bigger buildings. You see, that actually works as well, you see. So it shows, now my point is this exactly, see, so, okay, these are closer. Oh, just stretch the whole damn thing. Okay, whatever. stretched everybody, whatever. I think it just works no matter what, really. That's the good thing. So you put it in front of that, on top of that, put these ones below. A bit too close to for my liking. Go there, move this one. Oh fuck, I could choose the layer. We go have that about there. This one's going to be, let's say it's going to be up higher. We'll make a higher ground or something. I don't know. Can I just, I'm trying to work out if I can actually move these around and do different things, see, like that. That's what I'm trying to work out. So this one, for example, yeah, I could put that there. And I think it's going to work. Look, see, I can do that, see. It would work if I had this, if this was a brush, I'm saying, if it was a brush, I'm trying to say. It would work. Yeah, it would work, wouldn't it? Look, so like change things and stuff. Oh, my nose, man. An itchy nose. Don't you just hate that when you're having your hair cut and you're like, you know, you get an itchy nose. You have to explain, I've got an itchy nose, I need to scratch my nose. Happened the other day. And you're looking at you like, I'm not human or something. Okay, so there we go. Alright, it just works, don't it, man? Basically, it just works, you know. At the end of the day, it works. You know what I mean? Just put these down here, so they're in the front, good. Okay, they're there. They're there. They're there, okay. They're there, old boy, old chap. I'll put these ones a bit lighter because they're further away. And I'll put this one even lighter. It's more further away. Just do it like that, maybe. You know, something like that. They can be smaller, obviously, very, very small in the background. You can make them really, really small. I mean, I could even do that now, just quickly to try it. Let's see. Little small buildings. You see, I could put like loads of copies of that. You know. Yeah, and it works. You see, look, it does work, really, to be honest with you. Don't kid yourself, Richard. Yeah. It does work, let's see. Yeah, at the end of the day, it does work. I'm going to save that as a PNG as well, whatever. It doesn't have a background on it, but I'm going to save it as a rough. Yeah. So I guess we can do it with more or less any shape building. Good research to that, that's good research. And I even covered some character stuff at the start of this video, didn't I? Thanks very much for watching this, and take care of yourselves now.